Hello and welcome to Let's Start Cooking. I'm Wayne, and tonight we're going to be doing Chinese boneless spare ribs. We have all our ingredients laid out, and I will put the list of ingredients in the description of the video. Basically, all we're going to do is we have to marinate the pork overnight. So we're going to get all our ingredients, we're going to put them in our blender. If you don't have a blender or you don't have a food processor, you can use a knife. We're not eating this, we're just going to use it as a marinade, so we don't have to chop this up real small. But we're just going to take our green onions, our shallots, our garlic, and our ginger, and we're just going to add this right in. We're going to take our soy sauce, and again, we're just dumping everything in. Our black pepper, our oil, and this is Chinese barbecue sauce, which I can't even open. There we go. Just one jar of that. We have oyster sauce and we have Hoisin sauce. And we're gonna add both of them. And again, this is just to marinate our pork overnight. And the pork that we used is a pork butt. And we want about 3 pounds of it if we can get it. You can use a pork shoulder. They both come from the same area. It's just one's a little bit more tender than the other one. And we're going to take our brown sugar and we're going to add that in. And then last but not least, we have our roast pork, red pork seasoning sauce. Now, if you have a supermarket, a Chinese market in your area, you can go right there and probably get this. I unfortunately have to order this because we don't have anything like that around our area. But it's fairly easy to get a hold of. I went right on Amazon. It's like $1.50 a packet. Once you get all that in, we're just gonna make sure we seal this up. The last thing we need to do is take a bath. Set this to the side. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pork, and we're just going to take our pork and put it right in our bag. And we took a pork butt and we sliced it into about 1-inch thick slices. Any length you want, just remember, we don't want them too small. And we're just going to take them and put them right in here. And we're just going to take our marinade and we're just going to dump it right in our bag. Like that. And we want to make sure that we get this coated in all the meat. We're going to let this sit in the refrigerator overnight. But what would be boneless spare ribs without fried rice? So what we're going to do is we're going to prepare our rice tonight, because with fried rice, what you want to do is you always want to cook it the night before, and you want to let it sit overnight just like you do with your pork. So you're going to hear them always say that you want to use Thai rice. If you can't find Thai rice, basically what you're looking for is you want to look for jasmine. Jasmine rice is Thai rice. And you're going to take this and you're going to cook this, no matter how much you need, whether it's 1 cup, I'm using 1 cup to 1.5 cups of chicken stock. I don't cook this with water, I cook it with chicken stock. And with jasmine rice, it's not like white rice. You're going to want to take this and you're going to want to rinse this out 2 or 3 times. You'll see it gets real milky white, and you want to try to get all that starch out of there. So you're going to rinse this 2 or 3 times, and then you're going to cook this in chicken stock, and then you're going to let this sit overnight. And then we'll be able to take the rice and the ribs tomorrow, and we'll finish this recipe up. So we are back. We've left these marinate overnight, and now all we're going to do is we're going to stick them on a tray. All we really have to do is you're just going to lay them out. We're going to put them on so they don't touch, leave enough room. And before we fill up the whole tray, we want to take about 1.5 cups, 2 cups of water. And we're just gonna put it in the bottom of this tray. It's not only gonna stop the messes, but it's also gonna allow this to create a little bit of steam so these don't dry out. So you just wanna put a little bit in the bottom of the tray. We're gonna finish filling up our tray, and then we're gonna put these in the oven at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, we're gonna take them out, we're gonna flip them over, and we're gonna put them back in the oven for another 8 to 12 minutes, till you see the sides starting to get brown. While we're waiting for our boneless ribs to cook, we're gonna make our fried rice. Again, I will have all the ingredients to everything that I do in the description. We're gonna take our onions and our garlic. We're just gonna put them in here and we're gonna cook them up. We're gonna add 2 eggs beaten. And we add them now because we basically want to scramble these, but we don't want to dry scramble. We want to scramble these to where they're still a little wet. We're gonna start adding our rice. Now remember, the rice has already been cooked. So all we really want to do with the rice is we want to break it up and heat it up. And now all we're going to do once we get it to that point, you might have to break your rice up a little bit because it is sticky. We're just going to add some soy sauce. And like I said before, rice has already been cooked. So all we're really doing now is warming it up. And the last thing we're gonna add, and I know there's a lot of people that say they don't like it, but it does add flavor, is we're gonna add accent, which is actually MSG. And we're just gonna put some MSG on here. And I know it seems like a lot, but believe it or not, it's not as salty as salt is. And we're gonna add some green onion. We're just gonna mix this up. Take it off our heat. And that's our fried rice. It's been 45 minutes. We've taken them out of the oven. We now turn our temperature up to 400 degrees, and we're gonna flip these over, and we're just gonna put them back in the oven for about another 8 to 12 minutes. Flip them all over, we'll put them back in the oven for 8 to 12 minutes. All right, it's been about 8 minutes. We've taken them out of the oven. We took them off the rack. We just put them on a plate to cool off a little bit. Now that they're cool, all we have to do now is we're just gonna plate it with our rice. And again, it's not a hard recipe. It takes a little bit of time. Depending on how many you want. I don't know, if it was me, I know my wife would get mad, but I wouldn't even plate them. And that's Chinese boneless spare ribs with egg fried rice. And you could take some of this pork now that you've got it done if you want. You can even chop a little bit of that up and add it to your rice if you want pork fried rice. But I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you'll like, share, and leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing. And we'll see you next week.